Welcome to the Gay Buddhist Forum, where teachers from all schools of Buddhism offer their perspectives on the Dharma and its application in modern times, especially for LGBTQI audiences. These talks are offered freely to the world and made possible by appreciative listeners. If you would like to support our efforts to share the Dharma with underserved audiences, please visit gaybuddhist.org. There you can donate, find a list of upcoming speakers, or enjoy many hundreds of these recorded talks dating back to 1996.
So welcome everybody again. This is the time where we get to say hello, introduce ourselves. Is there anybody here who's joining us for the first time or coming back after an absence? Tell us your name.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh.
Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. I'm John, here as a guest of my cousin Richard Assolini.
Welcome, Josh.
So flattered to be.
Any other new faces?
Hi, my name's Monica, and I'm a friend of, I guess, Apisha.
Welcome, Monica. And yes.
Hi, my name is Scott. I'm here as a guest of my partner, Baruch.
Welcome, Scott. Okay. Any newcomers online? People coming for the first time? Oh, Jeff, would you like to unmute and just say hello? And tell us where you're zooming from?
Hi everybody, I'm Lev, I'm in Sacramento right now.
Oh, welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
So, at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Eve Decker. Eve has been practicing insight meditation since 1991 and has taught groups, day-longs, and short retreats since 2006, particularly at Spirit Rock, East Bay Meditation Center, and elsewhere in the Bay Area. She is a graduate of UC Berkeley and of Spirit Rock's Path of Engagement and Community Dharma Leader Training programs, and has been trained in the Hakomi approach to body-based psychotherapy. Eve is also a singer-songwriter who has combined the power of music and Dharma practice. Her most recent CDs are in Chants of Mindfulness and Compassion and Awakening Joy, the Music. Find her at evedecker.com or momentarily right here. So I just need to...
We didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, you see, I was trying to be informal here.
Doing great.
But before Eve gets to speak, let's say our names. My name is Henry.
My name is Michael.
Name is Steve.
I'm Bob.
I'm Jared. My name is Stephen.
Monica.
Grisha.
Jim, Mark,
Matthew.
John, Jim,
Ernie.
Noel.
Josh.
George,
Susan.
Tom.
Johnny. I'm Richard.
My name is Jeff.
I'm Scott.
Baruch.
Andy.
Okay. In that case, the floor is yours, Eve.
Thank you, Henry. Hi, it's a huge honor to be here as always with y'all. I'm really happy to be here. As many of you know, if you've been in circle with me here in the past, usually what I do is mostly sing and then make little Dharma comments in between. But I'm so excited about what I'm learning right now, the overlap between Buddhist teachings and neuroscience, that I actually want to mostly talk today, but sing a little bit. One of the things a point that I'll make in a minute is that both the Buddha and modern neuroscience teach that much of our distress has to do with reactivity. And there are very concrete ways to work with that so that we can have less suffering, more clarity. Less of all the things that go with suffering, isolation, blame, self-blame, less of that, and more ease and peace and acceptance and courage and all those kind of beautiful qualities. And there's a wise understanding that comes from the Buddha about how to frame that so that we stay really on track with our efforts or practice to incline towards wise understanding, both in terms of the Buddha's uncoverings and in terms of modern neuroscience. And so I want to share about that today. One of the things that supports regulation and self-soothing is community, and it's wonderful to be here with you. And I love your rituals, including the introductions. Just all of that connection matters. It makes a difference, not only to our own internal peace, but to the peace that we can then bring out into the world. Another thing that helps with what we could variously call regulation or grounding our inner peace is singing together. And that's well documented. In the Buddhist time, it was chanting and singing, and nowadays in Buddhist communities, it's mostly chanting, but singing together too. So I just want to start with a song. These words come from Thich Nhat Hanh, and the music comes from Berkeley singer-songwriter Betsy Rose. This is I Have Arrived. And it's a brief chant. Thich Nhat Hanh called it his shortest complete Dharma talk. And it is this: I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free. I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. And it's really, letting, just kind of reminding our systems that we're in the present moment. And though life is uncertain, we've been through, and we are in a world with uncertainty and suffering all around us, in this moment, am I safe enough? Can I ground? Can I be present? And can I even savor the blessings that may be here with me now? So I'll sing it for you, and if you know it, please sing along, and otherwise, please sing along. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid. There's a Buddhist teacher named Locke Kelly who teaches. He's not I come from the Vipassana tradition. He's not a Vipassana teacher. He was trained in Dzogchen, the Tibetan lineage, and given permission by some wonderful Tibetan teachers to teach Mahamudra, which historically wasn't allowed to be shared until one had sat three-year retreats. But he got permission to teach it just to all folks. And he's also a psychologist. And this is a quote from Locke Kelly. "Awakening is the next natural stage of our growth. We're fortunate to live in these times where ancient wisdom, modern neuroscience, and psychology have come together to offer us a way home." And we really, really are fortunate. The Buddha found mindfulness. The Buddha found a lot of things. He wasn't relying on metaphor or spiritual dogma, although that was around him. He really set an intention as a young man to discover for himself what can help alleviate human suffering. And then he went on a journey, a spiritual journey, but one that really allowed him to look inward at the function of heart, mind, emotion, and see what alleviates suffering, what does. And he came up with some philosophies based not on theory, not on mythic stories, but on direct experience. And he invited us to also rely on our direct experience. Like, it's fine if somebody says this or that is kind of a way to peace. That's one thing. But it's a whole other thing if what somebody offers as a way to peace is actually verified in our own experience. And in that way, the Buddha was more like a scientist than a spiritual teacher. He really looked for what is verified in my experience. And so he knew from his first 29 years of life that pursuing pleasure for pleasure's sake didn't ultimately alleviate suffering, because that was the lifestyle that he came from. Then in the 6 years after that, he got a lot from concentration practice. It was really helpful, really focused the mind, allowed it to see clearly. But concentration in itself, which was what was being taught by spiritual teachers at that time, among other things, wasn't itself an answer to alleviating human suffering. But it was a great tool. It's like concentration is sort of like a microscope or a telescope. It really can focus you in and see things clearly in a way that we don't in our normal sort of lost in thought. So he knew concentration was a great tool, but he also knew it wasn't the answer, because one can become concentrated, get a little break from the stress of human suffering, but then we come back to it at the end of our concentrative time. He remembered being a kid, sitting underneath a tree, and being fully in the present. And although there was nothing whatsoever extraordinary going on in that moment, he remembered just presence itself being a doorway, a really crucial sort of portal to well-being. He remembered that, and so that became part of his philosophy, sati, mindfulness. So mindfulness, concentration. In his explorations, he worked with his own mind, and he played around with thoughts. What happens when I'm really into anger, fear, anxiety? When I really play out blame and self-blame? What happens when I'm in craving and addiction? What happens to my well-being? And then the opposite too. He in Buddhism, these are called wholesome and unwholesome states, but really we can just call them sort of natural states of mind, often that we just kind of let flow freely, but we have the potential to really, like he did, see for ourselves which sort of lines of thought aggravate us, distress us, increase our confusion, and which ones alleviate stress. And he found what he calls wholesome. So generosity, truthfulness, friendliness, compassion. He discovered that all before his awakening, and then included that in his teachings after his awakening. And his first teachings after his awakening, which is a whole other inquiry and discussion, like what exactly was that? What happened there? It doesn't have to be some weird, fabulous, esoteric, mythological story. He was a human being. Something happened there. Let's find out, but that's not what I want to talk about now. What I want to say is, after his awakening, his first teaching of substance was the Four Noble Truths, which is basically naming his own discoveries. Okay, folks, we clearly suffer. Like there's pain here, there's loss for all beings, and humans, we have our own particular thing we do that really aggravates our stress. What's going on here for us humans? He said, we suffer. Second noble truth, this we'll unpack in a second, and many of you have unpacked it for decades. Second noble truth, suffering is caused by what's called tanha, or thirst, craving. It's the way in which the mind keeps working and takes us out of the present moment into craving or aversion. It's the delusion of the mind, greed, hatred, and delusion. So suffering is caused by that. Third noble truth, cessation of this kind of suffering is possible. And then the fourth noble truth, the Eightfold Noble Path, has 8 aspects to it. And the first is wise understanding. So first thing we need to do is step out of bewilderment, which we can spend our whole life in, and many of us, 8 billion do. We can step out of bewilderment and come into inquiry. What the heck is going on here? Well, like he did. Wise understanding. Okay? And then once we get some clarity about what might kind of incline us towards greater and greater levels of well-being, then the second is wise intention. All right, I'm going to get lost in all my old habits repeatedly. And am I willing to come back, refocus on, this understanding and the intention that was born from it? Then the next 3, wise speech, action, and livelihood, they're just about kindness, integrity, not causing harm. And that's safety, and we need that. If we hope to have any kind of peace or well-being, the ground of that is safety. Providing ourselves safety, providing safety for others, and creating an internal environment of safety. And then the last 3 are effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Effort, again, is working with leaning or inclining toward wholesome, but I would translate effort as practice. Because we've been practicing our habits all of our lives, and unless we do something different, we're not going to do anything different. And so that's what practice is, and practice doesn't need to mean striving or self-shaming or shoulds. Practice can just mean, oh yeah, let's this can be really wonderful. Let's do this for the sake of feeling great. Let's practice being in the present moment. Let's practice gratitude. Let's practice unconditional self-compassion. So practice doesn't have to be unpleasant. It can be quite fabulous, but it's still practice. It's deliberately trying something different than what we're used to. And then mindfulness and concentration, as I mentioned, just these really great tools. There's 2 types of intelligence that we have. One is the thinking mind, which has been conditioned, and it knows what it knows, and it repeats its stories, and it learns stuff. It's quite amazing. And it's not the only way of knowing. We have this other way, which is non-conceptual present moment awareness. It's non-judgmental. It just knows what's happening. That's what mindfulness is. And it's embodied. We can be with it, and from this place of embodied knowing, we can observe thoughts and, not necessarily buy into them, disidentify with them, not feel like we have to be at their mercy. Know that they're not us. So that was the Buddha's first main teaching, and he taught it through the whole remaining 45 years of his life, and right up to the end. He taught lots of other things too, but all that supported this idea of we need to see what's going on, we need to create safety and kindness, because that's what creates an inner and outer world of well-being. We need to step out of the delusion of thought when thought becomes deluded. Okay, then hundreds of years went by, and in the most recent hundreds of years, practice became pretty much the purvey of monastics. There have always been lay people practitioners, and for centuries, lay people practitioners have been reading suttas, going through rituals, and not really practicing that much. And then in the 1950s, in Burma, Mahasi Sayadaw began teaching mindfulness through the Satipatthana Sutta, the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, to lay people. And the reason was that that country was trying to free itself from British colonialism. And Mahasi Sayadaw felt that having this access to mindfulness would help. So he started teaching it to lay people, and then it started to spread, and it came to all over the world, to lay people all over the world. So it's really recent that lay people have had access to this. It's not that we didn't have access. I'm sure people have been. It's a natural human capacity, but we're so entranced by our thinking minds. We're so literally hypnotized by our thinking minds. I mean, certainly Western Europeans, but loads of people. We're so there that we've way minimized a lot of these things that are actually the road to peace. And a big one is this capacity for an intelligence that is non-conceptual. And in the present moment, always in the present moment, because, in fact, the universe isn't how we think it is. The universe is always happening now. If we're in the past or the future, we're in the thinking mind, which is fine. But to understand that, So anyway, mindfulness for the general public has only been around for about 75 years. And only within the last 15 or 20 years have neuroscientists really gotten a hold, not only of mindfulness, but also all these other teachings that are so, we see them in many spiritual traditions, but they're so foundational to human well-being. So mindfulness, compassion, joy and appreciation, gratitude. Even equanimity is being studied now by neuroscientists to great results. It's pretty exciting. And what is similar is, like I said, is that the Buddha was observing in real time what alleviates suffering. And so are neuroscientists. They're using their fMRIs and their studies, and they're like, okay, what helps? What helps? And it's the same stuff. So why is that? So I want to share with you, there's lots of really, I'll just mention in case others here are interested in these things. There's lots of really interesting rabbit holes one can go down of current research and science that totally verifies what the Buddha discovered. One is Polyvagal Theory, which really shows the way in which when we center in ventral vagal, we ground. Another one, but we need to know what's going on. Again, wise understanding. Another one is internal family systems, which deals with mental, emotional patterns that we think are self, but can be difficult, and turns towards them rather than with aversion, but with curiosity and compassion, mindfulness and compassion. But what I want to talk about right now is a whole huge body of work that was originated by Dr. Paul Gilbert in Britain. And it's called compassion-focused therapy. And it's a technique and it's a journey, it's a path, but it's also very research-based. And just tons and tons of studies. So Dr. Gilbert theorizes that all animals evolved with we all have emotions, and their function was they evolved to help kind of focus our attention so that we would survive. And he says there are three sort of clusters of emotions. There's the threat system. So when anything feels like it's could be threatening our safety in any way, the threat system comes on board, and the main emotions there are anger, fear, disgust, and interestingly sadness, which comes online to let us know we've lost something precious. And all of these emotions serve a function, anger to fight, fear to flee, disgust to step away, and sadness to try to retrieve, if possible, the thing that we may have lost. So that's the threat system. The drive system is the resource-seeking system. So for most animals, that means food and shelter and reproduction, but it can also mean putting some fancy feathers in your nest, things like that. And then the third system is the soothe system. Every animal needs some moment of rest and recovery. So it's rest and digest. And for mammals, it's also tend and befriend. So it's this interesting, the soothe system is this land of contentment, not wanting anything, being safe, and also play, collaboration, creativity. It's all the stuff we do that we just kind of maybe take for granted, but what Nisargadatta called everyday nirvana. Mm-hmm. Those moments when you're cooking or gardening or laughing at a comedian. You're safe enough. Your resources are met enough for today. And you can go into rest and digest, tend and befriend. It's a soothe system. So what Dr. Gilbert points out is that animals evolved with these three, and mammals have that tend and befriend part in the soothe system. Okay, now simultaneous to that, all the other animals have this same emotional system, and we've evolved our brains over hundreds of millions of years. Just in the last 2 million years, we humans brought on board this incredible cognitive capacity, which makes us human. It's really amazing. It allows us to imagine, to remember, to ruminate, to plan. Of course, it's really amazing. And it has a glitch. Kind of like a giraffe has a glitch. Like evolution gave a giraffe a really long neck, which is really wonderful because it can survive by eating the leaves off the top of the trees the other animals can't get. The glitch is when the giraffe needs water. It awkwardly has to lean down and go. And that's not great for giraffes in terms of predators. We also have a glitch, which is that the thinking mind apprehends phenomena, most of which it's imagining or remembering or planning, worst case scenario, stuff like that. And the limbic brain, this emotional brain that we have along with all the other animals, cannot tell the difference between what's actually happening in real time and what this mind is conjuring. Well, this is what the Buddha was talking about when he was talking about delusion. It's innocent. It's not our fault. We evolved this way. The good news is there are interventions. We don't have to be stuck in these loops. Oh, I wanted to just read you an example. This is a book called The Compassionate Mind Approach to Difficult Emotions using Compassion-Focused Therapy. And this is just an example of the way the mind loops between this imaginal thinking mind and the emotional limbic brain. Hassan was lying in bed, feeling tired and ready to fall asleep. Suddenly, a memory came to mind from earlier in the day when he was telling a story to some colleagues whom he'd gone for some food with after work. An image came into his new brain of his colleagues' faces looking bored when he was telling this story. And by the way, they may or may not have been bored. Like the mind imagined, I think they might have been bored while I was telling this story. Which, lying in bed at 11 p.m. now, gave him a flush of anxiety in his old brain. This in turn led to various new brain thoughts, such as, people don't like me, they think I'm boring, and they won't invite me to come next time. Rather than getting a restful night's sleep for the next couple of hours, Hassan was trapped in a variety of loops in the mind, all of which heated up unpleasant emotions like anxiety and shame. And that's an example of what we're working with as human beings. Do animals suffer terribly? Of course they do. But they don't have this particular thing. When they're dealing with threat issues, it's going to be coming in through one of the five senses in the present moment. The Buddha said, we have six senses, and the sixth one is the thinking mind. Why do we consider that a sense? Because it's apprehending phenomena in the same way that the other five senses do. No? But these five senses for us as humans, a lot of times, in this moment, we're fine. But that sixth sense is going, they were bored by me, which activates the threat system, and then we suffer. So what do? Okay, well, the Buddha said, come into the present moment, folks. Check out what's happening right now. Are you safe? Do you have enough resources right now? And maybe you're not, and maybe you don't. You know, the threat and drive systems definitely have their place. But a lot of times, you come into the present moment and you're actually okay. But then we need these other strategies, the compassion for ourselves and each other. Because our hearts are broken. And part of them are broken because of, what's actually happening, what we're actually doing to each other. And part of the reason our hearts are broken is because we're in threat system all the time. There's a book, which I haven't read yet, but just the title is called Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And they don't. Because they're not, what if I'm a zebra and, there's a lion chasing me and I manage to get away from the lion, all I have to do is shake off my threat system and I go right back into soothe. And I don't give another thought to that thing and just right back and soothe. But if I'm a person and I'm chased by a lion, I'm not going to go right back into soothe. I might never see soothe again. Because my mind is going to keep going about it. And it's contagious, and you can see, we have to really be careful about things like scrolling, and we have to really titrate that stuff because we're all activating each other all the time with these really frightening stories. And that's something that we evolved to do. We evolved to, like you go on a really great tropical vacation, everything is beautiful, your place, the view, the beach, and then you walk in the bathroom and there's a big spider there. What are you going to talk about at dinner? Probably the spider. And we evolved that way because we needed to keep each other safe. And there's no off switch for that unless we deliberately bring in the off switch of come into the present, bring compassion, recall gratitude, and also practice patience, truthfulness, generosity, all the kinds of things that allow us to connect, to ground, and to offer peace to others, to sustain our compassion. So I want to stop there, and I have sitting here 2 pages of studies on the amazing effect of mindfulness. And it's the same with, like I said, with compassion, equanimity, gratitude. You know, just like there's something beautiful here that we're cultivating. And just to carry on. It's beautiful. So I do want to end with a song, but we have a few minutes if anybody wants to share how this is landing for you, anything to add, questions, anything like that.
I really want to thank you for this beautiful talk. Your approach is, everything's very approachable, and I love the way you bring it down to earth. I was trained as a scientist, so I spent 9 years poking electrodes into retinal cells, measuring voltages. I spent 15 years training dogs, which a lot of that was based on B.F. Skinner, just reinforcing behavior. And only in the last few years have dog trainers and other scientists read Robert Sapolsky's book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, and started to think about the neuroscience. So thank you very much. And I'm sure I'll have questions about books afterwards, but a beautiful talk. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that. Yes?
I was thinking, you said that innate present state or whatever. Like, it made me think, like, where there's, like, babies and they can tell there's, like, edge. And even if there's glass that they will go. So I wonder if that's, like, what you're referring to, or, like, there's something within us that's not the mind, but...
Yeah, that's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I haven't read the description of why that happens, but I think it's called proprioception. And yeah, babies just know, and we also have that capacity. And it's what is going on there when we just kind of open up to the present moment, and awake awareness can allow us to know way more than the thinking mind has any concept of. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. It's very enlightening.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Yes?
Thank you so much for your talk. When you used the example of the zebra, the first thought I had, I reflected on the training they say of elephants. In one particular case, they'll put a string on the elephant, a chain, and they'll know this is the diameter, this is the space I can go, and then ultimately it only needs a string.
Yes.
So that made me think about the fact that I kind of believe that animals store memory, they store fear of certain things.
Yes.
And when I think about myself and the fear that I've stored, the caution, the landscape that I've developed over time of what I should be cautious of.
Yes.
I thought that pursuing this, the Buddhist teachings and such, would lead me to a point where I had a less foundational fear. Mm-hmm. And I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, in my experience, thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, I know. I think about that elephant stuff too. They can chain a baby elephant to a tree, and then after a while, the elephant stays near the tree, like you said, with a string, doesn't even know it's possibly free. And that's a powerful thing in itself, and also imagery or metaphor for us. Like the way in which our foundational fear has kind of kept us from various explorations we might have otherwise done. It's powerful. And yes, I think animals do. They know they have, when the 5 senses let them know that something is, bringing about a threat that had come to the past. Yes, I think they do know that. What I want to say to you about that question about foundational fear, my experience with that, in terms of Buddhism and compassion, isn't that it goes away. like you're saying, which is disappointing. I want it to heal and go away for us all. But that the space around it gets bigger and more loving. Like here's the wound, and when we're right in by the wound, it's just intolerable. It's just intolerable. It's too much, and so many of us are in that space. And with present moment, more coming into the present over and over, like in this moment I'm okay. In this moment I can hold this with love and care. It creates more space, and with more space, there's just more possibility for continued insight. And yeah, that's my best answer right now. I really appreciate you bringing that in. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you also for a really great talk, the most spiritual to the most root, practical. Family says all of it, you know. It's we're multi-level beings.
Yes.
That's important. And that you acknowledge the different realms of reality, right? And intelligences. I want to comment on your last comment, which was about maybe more becoming bigger than the fear. And it really fits with what you were talking about in terms of becoming whole. Isn't that your experience, sort of holding all these things, is incorporating them, listening to them, and
yes.
Say it's okay, you can be here.
Yes.
And there's not a fear of whatever, Nietzsche, I think, was the one that said mankind's problems are a result of their inability to sit quietly alone in a room. And that's what I think the value of meditation is.
Yeah. Yes, and there is something about learning. Like for me, part of the journey has been that learning to sit quietly alone in a room. And part of it has been learning, like Locke Kelly said in the opening quote, learning how to skillfully hold what's arising with compassion and presence. And mindfulness itself is like part of that, but not the whole equation. It's so wonderful that we have all these caring hearts finding ways to articulate what allows that to happen, so that we can become whole. Because that's why I like internal family systems. If people aren't familiar with that, it's like we're different parts, and all the parts have a reason for being there, and they all deserve respect. Even the most addicted, rageful, intense parts, they all have a reason. No bad parts, Richard Schwartz says. And so learning to hold all of those in presence, yeah. Yes?
I found your reference to animals, it really resonated with me as a pet owner.
Yeah.
I've thought a lot about, frankly, the ethics and what gives me pleasure having in my case, a cat. And it's the affection they give, but it's primarily that you're in the presence of a non-human animal that is always in the moment. And I think it teaches me about trying to be in the moment.
Beautiful, yeah. And we need to learn that, because we live in a culture that values drive, like the drive system, the resource gathering. Long after we've got all our resources met, we keep on getting more and more stuff. And it's not just our culture, right? Buddha said that's part of the reason we suffer. But when really, where's nirvana? Hugging your dog. Where is it? Gardening. All this stuff that we put down at the bottom of the to-do list as not as important turns out to be the secret place of freedom. Yeah.
Not Costco.
No.
Well, I hate to be the one to mention time, but we
I appreciate
need to kind of wrap up.
Yeah. Okay, do we have time for a song or no?
There's always time for a song.
Okay. All right, so this is All You Need Is Love by the Beatles.
Thank you, Eve. Well, after the love, the announcements.
Is that like the laundry?
Yeah. So tonight I'll be going over to Berkeley, and anybody's free to join me for Eve's monthly song-along, sit and sing in Berkeley. I'll take Bart and then a short 10-minute walk or so. And it's just a great way, if you enjoy singing kind of Dharma-based mindfulness songs like this, it's a group of about 20 people that show up. And it's just really wonderful to sit in that presence and vibrate and, sing. So see me afterwards if you'd like to come along. It's from 7 to...
6:30 to 8.
6:30 to 8.
Thank you, Thomas.
I'm the host today. Please stay and enjoy the fellowship of the Sangha. There are cookies and oranges out there. There's hot water for tea. Just leave your cup in the sink when you're done and I'll take care of it. I will be standing with the Donna Bowl when we suggest a donation between $10 and $20, but we're happy to take anything you're willing to give us. And that's for paying the rent on the space, for honorarium for our speakers, for the newsletter we send out mostly to prisoners, for our Locken Street dinners, which we've resumed, and it also helps fund our retreats, so we're able to offer scholarship. And there's a sign-up sheet on the credenza if you'd like to get on our mailing list. And some people go out to lunch at 12:30. Welcome to join in. You might consider inviting somebody, and have a nice day.
Jeff.
I want to make a poignant plea for volunteer energy here. We have Shunning Michael Murphy, who's edited the newsletter for many years. He's stepping down. We need someone who's got a proclivity for details and writing, and kind of hands holds it from the what is it? The transcription to the hands it to the publisher, and it's really great. And there are 3 other people who are on that team, so So each person takes a newsletter per year. And but there's a really well worked out system that Michael could tell you about. And Jack Busby, our dear Jack, is stepping down from handling the newsletter. November will be the last time he will help produce it. And practical, organized people who want to make sure the Dharma gets out and into prisons. This is a great seva, a great service. So please let me or Matthew or anybody on the board know. That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you. Tom?
Also once a month in the Castro there's a men's community yoga session. A couple of us from here go and attend. It's kind of like this format. Instead of meditation and a short talk, there's yoga and a short talk and then little community gathering and stuff. It's really a wonderful, rich community that's very diverse in age and ethnicity and whatnot. So if you're inclined, I think Steve, you're going to go?
Yeah, the last Friday of the month.
Is it the last or the fourth?
I think it's the last Friday of the month.
Okay.
But we can check that.
It's
in
either
the
this Friday
Castro
or
room.
next Fridays, but it's in the Castro room. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, about 6:30 p.m.-ish. Gay men's...
Sangha, is it?
Gay men's Sangha, I think is the name.
They're in Maine. But we can use the website and all that. Thanks.
And we should also mention that this Sangha, the Gay Buddhist Fellowship, has a day-long retreat coming up in November.
November 23rd.
November 23rd. It will start at our usual time here with David Moreno, but it will then continue for the day. Lunch is provided, but you need to sign up on the website if you want to participate and get lunch. And the day includes meditation and yoga, or physical movement.
Isn't he the one that did the Qigong?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Qigong. Okay. Any further announcements? Well, thank you then. And that's it.
The dedication.
Oh. See, I do forget. All right. The dedication of merit.
Oh, you want to do it for us?
No, I'd be happy to
All
help
right.
you.
Got 3 hands?
Thank you.
Okay, may the merit of our practice, of our hearts, of all our goodness, may it be for the benefit of all beings everywhere, including ourselves. All beings everywhere. May all beings everywhere be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings everywhere know peace and the causes of peace. And may we be held in love.
Thank you for listening to the Gay Buddhist Forum. If you would like to hear several new talks per month and be notified of upcoming speakers so you can participate live, please subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and join our mailing list by visiting gaybuddhist.org.